Good day, everybody. Yes, it's State of the Nation Monday, first day of the week. Yeah, but then Project Nigeria, big on our mind, plenty to unpack. We're looking at Office of the Citizen, plenty to unpack. A lot of people complain. We've seen apathy, voter apathy in recent time. We saw it in the Abuja election, the local government. We saw it in Lagos State, a very low percentage of people come out. Now, we do know that everybody's grumbling. Some have said it's a failure of leadership. Some of us feel that there's also a followership problem, that the citizens have to live up to their ability. It's not just enough to complain. But then we need to always profile solutions. That's why we are here. That's what we do here. It's not just enough to criticize, condemn, and so on and so forth. So today, we have a very great Nigeria, a fantastic patriot, somebody that's always been there. He's been there in citizenship activation. He's an activist and humanist. A lot of empowerment she's done. Yeah, I know I leaked there. She's helped the youth in so many ways. And she's not left or right. She's always a bridge between the good, the bad, and the ugly. She sees good in every bad situation. She's always trying to mend fences. And she's one of the people I can say believe in that Project Nigeria. She believes there's light at the end of the tunnel. And that's why we're going to talk to her. Why she's so positive? What does she see that so many others don't see? And why is she still very, very, very positive? And most importantly, why she feels that the youth have a major role to play in the future of Nigeria. So let's welcome today to State of the Nation, Miss Yemisi Ransome-Kuti. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you. Like I said in the intro, you're an activist, you're a civil society leader, founder of the Nigerian network of non-governmental organization. That's a very big one. A member of the historic Ransome-Kuti family, plenty in the DNA. Yeah, as she spent decades advocating for democracy, that's one of the core reasons why we brought her here. Civic engagement, social justice in Nigeria while working with international institutions, grassroots movement to promote governance and reform. And she's well known internationally. She's worked abroad, she's worked all over the world, and she has a fantastic reputation. So she's the person for the job. So as we want to rebuild, where do we start from? Let's talk about the citizens' question. There's a lot in that area. So Nigeria is often described as a country, with strong ethnic identity. I'm sure it's a common thing in Africa, but weak national citizenship. What does true citizenship mean in Nigeria today? How can Nigeria begin to reclaim it? Before you answer the question, I'm sure that you agree with me that people in South Africa, all of them feel a sense of nationalism, a sense of citizenship, probably because of the way, they acquired their independence, they fought for it. A lot of people say we did not, even Ghanaians do have, within Nkrumahs and, nationalism. So that's why my question is, Nigeria is often described as a country with strong ethnic identities, but weak national citizenship. What does true citizenship mean in Nigeria today, and how can Nigeria begin to reclaim it? Over to you, man.
Yeah, difficult question. Yes.
It's not beyond you, actually, so...
Yes, for a country like Nigeria, where historically we kind of individually, as a group of people, whether you are from the east or the north or the south, you acquired your sense of nationhood through different historical paths. And the engagement of the citizen are very, very varied in these groups. So right from get-go, there was not really a focused and a robust strategy to knit us together as a nation. Our leaders were still kind of champions of their own enclaves, so to speak. And that unity has not been nurtured. And of course, when the military came in, it just created an even wider fission between citizen and state. So it's very difficult for the average Nigerian to see themselves as Nigerian first. They see themselves as members of their particular groups. They're more familiar with the ethos, the principles of their group than they are of But I think we were kind of limping along, getting to that point before things got really disseminated. Yes, I mean, just everything just blew up in our faces. Because when I was growing up, people like me who are almost in our 80s, there really was no division between one group or the other. Our friends were from different groups. You know, we acknowledged the customs and the culture, and actually respected those other people's ideology, point of view, and admired it. You know, we've always had an admiration for the entrepreneurship strength of the people from the East. Very entrepreneurship, very focused on business and all of that. We admire that. The northern group appear to have a more sort of inclusive, laid-back kind of attitude to life, you know, agro-based and all of that. That, you know, we traded along those bases quite effectively. The Yorubas, well known for their bookishness and, focus on, you know, that kind of lifestyle. So it would have worked out, I think, in the long run. We would have melted, we intermarried, we respected each other's language. There's no family in most parts of the country that does not have somebody from either the Muslim or the Islamic or even, you know, the more traditional religions. However, where we are, and I think the present government at least has been trying with this National Orientation Agency and other institutions of the government to build that cohesion, to build that inclusivity. Well, I'm not sure they're spending enough money or enough time on it, but that is where we have to go. That is where we as a citizen ourselves, because I don't believe that we can leave everything to government. Government cannot do everything. We are government. It's the people from us that go into government, and we have a responsibility to direct those people that we have hired to do more to align with the citizens' goals and objectives. And as citizens of Nigeria, irrespective of the elements that have tried to tear us apart, every minute we get the doomsday, you know, Nigeria, you know, it will not, Nigeria will fall in the year something. We've survived wars, we've survived, you know, even now we are fighting tooth and nail to fight off the elements, the aliens, alien cultures, alien concepts that are coming in to try and divide us. We're still sort of hanging in there and saying, no, we want to be Nigerians. We will not split up. We've repelled the Igbohos of this world. We've calmed the Kanus of this world. And I think that is part of what I almost call a spiritual calling for Nigeria, because we're the biggest Black nation on earth in terms of population and the resources and all of that. And I think we have a responsibility to prove to the world that we can organize ourselves more effectively. We can lead the African diaspora, the African continent, to a place of respect once again. You know, why are we not teaching our children in school about the fact that Africa is the cradle of mankind, that the first elements, that the first concepts rose from the African continent? And why are we not interrogating more critically foreign ideologies that have come to divide us and tell us that unless you believe in this one, you are not going to be saved. If you believe in that one, you are going to hell. You know, why do we believe all that when we are the ones that understood the spirituality and centrality of being human first. So it's up to us as citizens. That's what I say. It's up to particularly those of us who have had the privilege of exposure, the privilege of understanding the different mystical, or is it spiritual or educational, so many different paths have been trod by humanity in its quest to understand what the heck are we doing here? Why did the Almighty create the system as well? In a world that is huge, a universe that is massive, what are we doing here? What is the place of this particular globe, this particular entity called the United States of Being, that is the globe that is still recognized as being populated by human beings? Why is it that Mars does not have human beings? We've been there. We've been to the moon. We've been to these places. Why are human beings not there? And it is up to us as the quote-unquote elite to do a little bit more to educate our citizens and not be in this pedestal where we're looking down on them, calling them ignorant, poor, and they have understanding. They have the capacity to understand what we're talking about if we will get off our high horses and engage with them more effectively.
All right. So I'm sure you agree with me that things have degenerated. I mean, I respect your positivism and I share quite a bit of it too. But do you think that we should at least sit down as a people and renegotiate our being together? I mean, maybe not to break up, but at least to decide the mode, the condition, the modalities to which we will stay together. For example, there are people in the South that think that there are too many states and local governments in the North. There are people that feel that resources are not shared equitably well. For example, apart from getting 13% derivation, some feel that gold in the North, the resources from gold in the North is being it's not being shared properly. Some will go to the VAT issue. Some of these issues we try and address it once in a while, but there's so many agitation, especially from the Middle Belt, from the Southeast, South. The Southeast, for example, will tell you they have 5 states. I don't know why having 7 or 8 states is very important. Some will even argue that the presidential system of government, it's expensive for us. Maybe we should go parliamentary. So the question is, do you think we should at least sit down, all ethnic nationalities, religion, major stakeholders, elites, like you said, and at least discuss under what condition are we supposed to live together? I mean, it will guarantee us some peace, because right now we do know that most of these bandits and insurgents are not Nigerian, not all of them. Some of them, they're encroaching from outside, and it's also common knowledge that Fulani jihadis, they've never hidden it. Historically, they conquer violently, They get to a place, some cases, if the king or whoever is there doesn't cooperate, they behead, install an emir, and they go on. They don't hide it. So do you think we really need to sit down together and reappraise the condition under which we're together? Over to you.
Yes, I think I am always interested in dialogue.
Okay.
And always, it's always the last resort. Even if you go and fight each other and kill each other, you have to come back and talk to each other and agree.
Even in war.
Even exactly.
Yeah, you have to judge at some time. Yep.
You have to. That's the only way that you will reconcile your differences. In any group, with any group, whether it's a family thing or a society or country, tribes, all of that. The only way people solve problems is when they come and agree on how they will go forward. Now, from my own understanding of where we are at the moment and reading the tea leaves, so to speak, we've had, I think, 2 conferences.
More than 2, actually.
Yeah, several conferences. I mean, the major ones, the last one, and the one
The
before that.
documents are there. I think it's just a function
Yes,
of implementation and all that, but they might
ex-
not agree on some issues. Yep.
exactly. We've had those conferences. The last one was massive that Jonathan put together. And even before the last elections, I think all the political parties were saying we must have a national conference to debate the templates of how we operate and how we relate with each other. So I think at some point we will have it. I think what I'm seeing from this particular government is that you don't even have anything to really negotiate at one because we were so poor. We have spent all our money. We have sold our oil. There was no money in the casket to fall back on. So the first thing is to sort out our financial situation and get a little bit of stability before you can talk. Whether that is the best solution, whether as soon as from get-go we should have had a national conference and started that discussion, is neither here nor there. We remember when the particular group led by Chief Anyoku went to see the president.
Patriots.
The Patriots, to say we must have it. But the mood of the country at the time, the mood of the government at the time was that, look, the house is burning. We will talk after. We have put the fires out. So this is how I see the particular temperature.
You think the atmosphere must be conducive for us?
Yes, we must at least get to a place where we've solved the burning question of the economy, because everywhere that I have been to, and every group that I have listened to, is really focused on productivity, making sure companies like Dangote work. Because if we hadn't had a Dangote and this war had fallen on us, I don't know what we would have done. So a lot of the government effort at the moment is about fiscal and financial stability, getting us to a point where we even have something to talk about. And who will manage what, and I think the key to finding a solution is the objective of all the players. Why do we want to have this dialogue? Are we sincere about really wanting peace, justice, and development? That justice meaning that we want it to be fair. We want everybody to get a fair piece of the action.
Equity.
It's not that, it's not that I want to come and talk so that I can be, or only three of us, for instance, the East, West, and the North, will be the ones that commands everything. What happened to the people in the Middle Belt? We have thousands of, splinter communities and groups in Nigeria, very, very, very diverse group of people. And seeing a diversity as a contributing factor, something that is positive that we can utilize to further expand, enhance our development, should be where we're going, not to come in there just to tell everybody that, okay, my group is the one that did this, that, the other, and because of that, I must be this, that, or the other. So what is the purpose? Where are we coming to talk? And if we're coming to the table because we really care about every single human being that is Nigerian, and maybe this is a feminist, I'm coming at it as a mother.
Okay.
That every child that I have must be treated with equal respect, equal opportunities must be available to them,
irrespective of what their background is.
Irrespective, it's my responsibility as a mother to the one that is retarded, the one that has disabilities, the one that whatever. Every child of this country must get the benefit, the support that they need to thrive and be human beings that can be respected. Why would you bring children into the world and not be ready to prepare and make accommodation and preparation for their well-being? So that they now become terrorists or they become armed robbers. Why would you bring them into the world as parents? I think that is where citizenship has to start. That we as the parents of the children of this country must take responsibility for bringing them in and making sure that the resources and opportunities that they need to live as human beings, to thrive and fulfill their God-given potential is what we're dialoguing about.
Yes, let me interject you there, because time is never our friend. So, and I really want to maximize my view with you today. So many Nigerians feel disconnected from government. Yeah. In practical terms, how can citizens hold leaders accountable beyond just voting during elections?
Well, I think part of what I see is that a lot of citizens are affected by the culture in which they operate.
Okay.
In the average Nigerian culture, people think for you. The Oga is the one that dictates the tune. The parent tells you what to do. The democracies that we want to emulate, they practice democracy in their home. Their children have a say. You cannot tell their children to shut up and do as they're told in those democracies. So if we really want to hold citizens, our leaders accountable, we have to look at the culture that we embrace. Are we engaging at the family level as Democrats, as people who are ready to listen to all sides of the story and come up with a resolution that is the best, that suits everybody? Or is the father the one that just tells everybody what to do? Or the mother that tells everybody whoever is the leader in that family? So that is one aspect, I think, that we have to, as individuals, take cognizance of, that our mindset has to become that mindset that believes in accountability, that in the home, in the office, in the community, as the leader of whatever, you must, taking the leading position is a position of accountability.
Sorry, ma, you believe the problem is cultural, fundamentally cultural?
Part of it. Largely part of it, because we tend to, these leaders we've put there, we treat them like lords and emperors, and we expect them to solve. We don't ask them the questions we should ask them. And that comes from the culture where they come from.
Submission.
You know what I mean?
Submission. Yeah. Daddy said you have to study medicine or law.
Exactly. And then
the boy wants to be a physician.
Exactly. I remember somebody calling daddy at the last election as well. Why are you calling somebody a daddy? It's not your daddy. The woman is not your mommy. You have equal rights, equal responsibilities, and that's how we have to begin to deal with each other. And citizens have to recognize that if they do not take an active part in making, I'm not saying they should fight. I mean, I'm sure those who are leading, who we have selected or elected to lead us, also know they cannot solve all these problems themselves. And they would want positive engagement. And down in where I am, in Lagos, a lot of stakeholder meetings happen, and a lot of the citizens don't engage in it. The structure is there. They have the CDA, the structure in Lagos State.
Maybe they are hungry. Maybe they are hungry. They are prioritizing their stomach infrastructure ahead of civic engagement, you know.
But that is where your hunger will be sorted. It is by engaging and letting the people that are in office know what they need to do to create the opportunities for you. That is where the solution will be found. They cannot feed you. They cannot just send rice to your house every day. That's not going to happen.
So you think there's a disconnect between the people and the leaders? The leaders might not really know what's wrong with the people.
I think so. I mean, the leaders have a responsibility, but the citizens have a greater responsibility because we're in a democracy. If we're in a theocracy or an authoritarian system, then the king is the responsible one. He's the one that has to, sort everybody out. But if we have said we want to be a democratic nation, then we have to take that responsibility on as citizens to say, we will make sure that the people we elect, first of all, we make sure that even the election process, the selection process of the leadership cadre is something that will throw up the brightest and best amongst us, those who have the capacity to solve these problems. And once they're there, you have to ask questions. When you meet them, your question shouldn't be, my mother just died and I need money to bury her. No, your question should be, on our road, in our street, the road is not there. So our cars are spoiling. It is increasing the cost of goods that we are bringing to the market. What are the issues that will create prosperity, enhance productivity for whichever part of the country you are in? That's the question we have to be asking. Where's the health system? Why is there no drugs in the primary health care sector? Why is it that the school does not have the best tools to teach our children? Those are the questions we should be asking the leaders. And if we don't ask, human beings are very weak. They will take advantage of situations where they're not being pressured and where there's no accountability when they do not do it. When they do not do it, you will re-elect them. So why should they do it?
Okay, let me put a quick follow-up on that. I mean, I read something some time ago and it just came into my head as you were talking that. I mean, it said, I'm paraphrasing now, it said, Nigerians don't hate corrupt leaders. They just want that leader to come from their ethnic group. You understand? So it's going to my next question now. Some have said that our leaders are a reflection of who we really are. People are saying it's a turn-by-turn Nigeria limited. I was talking to Dr. Bugaje about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm sure you know Usman Bugaje. He said when Buhari was there and he was just putting Northerners in all the positions, that they warned him. They actually went to him and told him that this thing you are doing will not augur well for everybody. Now there are people that are accusing President Tinubu of doing the same. You understand? And they will say, look, when the Hausa man was there, he did the same thing. So when is your turn? After when Jonathan was there, his own might not be this brazen, but at least you could see that there was a tilt towards people in the South. So it's looking like a turn-by-turn Nigeria limited. Everybody's just bidding their time to loot, rape, and take their part of the loot. And the country is worse off for it, actually. So I'm saying that, what role do you think the National Orientation Agency be playing right now? You mentioned earlier on. What exact thing should they be doing right now that you think they're not doing? Because there seems to be we need reorientation. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, that is absolutely what should be happening. They should be at the vanguard of strengthening that stakeholder engagement at the grassroots level. What are the structures? Where are the structures for that engagement? And how do you follow up on whatever agreements or discussions that happen at that level? How do you ensure that you empower the citizens on the processes for advocacy? If they need to contact their representatives, do they have the numbers? If they need to get advice on one thing or the other, information about what the government is doing, what the government is planning, where are the systems for that type of engagement and communication? That's what they should be doing. They started, but They seem to have tapered down. We don't hear too much. And we don't hear it from the local branches. We hear it from the head of... Yes, it's always at that level. And this is what I keep telling Nigerians, that all politics is local. And the more organized you are at your local levels, the better you are empowered to impact what happens at all the levels. Because as you build that foundation, you get that a structure of engagement in place, not just once in a while, but regularly, where you are able to address issues that are germane, that affects the community, not just individuals. And it makes everybody sit up. When the leader also knows that these people not go grill. If I said I'm going to do this and I do and I don't do it, there are going to be consequences. And that's another thing. We have to make sure that there are consequences. When people misbehave, the rule of law must kick in. So that's where we have to speak to our justice system as well. Why are people getting away with murder? If the justice system was working as it should, then a lot of our problems will be solved a lot quicker. So each sector must play its part. The leaders must play their part, the political class. And I was actually thinking this morning that people who bring children to the world must know that you are bringing children into your own family. And then you must be aware that there's a political family out there that you may lose them to when they join one political party or the other. All those things you have been teaching them at home may not help them where they're going in these political parties. So we have to pay a lot of attention to what's happening in our politics, in our judicial system, in our other sectors that are the pillars of any nation to develop.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think Nigeria is in trouble right now, the way we are? Do you think we're in any trouble? Do you think there's cause to be worried?
I don't think we're in any more trouble than everybody's in trouble at the moment.
I think so too.
There's somebody throwing tantrums and destabilizing the whole world at the moment. So everybody has issues. I think what we need to do, general statements like that is usually not helpful. We need to look at the issues. Which sector has a problem that we can sit down?
Let's do that. You know why I asked the question? Because it just looked like, like you said, that maybe I generalized it. No, but writing in front of me now, I wrote judiciary, I wrote police, I wrote INEC. You understand? I was going to write health sector. But even those 3 or 4 I wrote, they're not functioning well. And why I was compiling those departments and sector of government was that when you said that the judiciary must also live up to the billing, because a lot of us agree, and I agree with you, that there are no punitive, the punitive measures are there, but there's no action taken towards it. You understand? People jump traffic light in developed world, in Benin Republic. I'm telling you, if you jump traffic light, there's punitive measures for you. You understand? Even countries will call
it's away.
So it might be unfair to generalize, but even all the ones I've written, police, INEC, judiciary, they're not functioning. They are functioning, but they're not functioning as much as they should be. You understand? So what do you think we should do about that? I don't think NOA now, because like you said, the citizen also, because all these people, these judges, they're individuals too. These police, they're individuals too, Is it that there's no sense of pride, or corruption is just our culture? Or there's failure of the elite, like someone said, that the elites have failed Nigeria. Absolutely. That they failed totally. That's why there's a trickle-down effect. There's a shortage of people to look up to as leaders. What do you think, man?
Well, let's all sort of take a general responsibility for everything failing, whether you're elite or non-elite, religious sector, judicial, all of us have,
we're all guilty.
Fell short of the glory. So let's take the blame, because that's what I do to myself. I like to take the blame and say, okay, why didn't this thing go right, and what could I have done?
I think we're all guilty, actually.
Yes, we all have some level of responsibility on why we're not where we are. in spite of, a lot of sectors, a lot of people have sacrificed, some have died in the process of getting us to where we are, but it's obviously not enough. It's not where we want to be. So let's just take it as we are collectively not doing as best, the best that we can. So how do we take on the baton and say, okay, I will take responsibility in my own sphere of influence.
Yeah.
I will take responsibility for getting things right. I mean, throughout this week, I've been attending one program or the other where so many groups are doing so much, empowering women, training, giving training opportunities, giving funding opportunities, looking at the SDGs and creating, different networks that will address the SDGs. So I see a lot of groups in Nigeria being conscious of the fact that we do need to do a lot more. That the challenges are humongous.
They are.
We let so many things, fall by the cracks, and we're now having to face the consequences. So we all have to buckle up now and see what we can do. And the most important thing is to be clear about what the issues are. What are the XYZ 1, 2, 3 things we should face? If we can say, okay, this year, this 2026, we want to fix electricity. If that's what we decide that this is a major problem, whatever it is it insecurity? Is it electricity? Whatever it is, let's all say, look, this year all of us are going to be screaming blue murder until this particular thing is solved. And it's not just about screaming blue murder. It's about proffering solutions, proffering alternative solutions. How can we? I remember when the budget came out and we were told that there was a huge budget for solar power at Aso Rock. And people were saying it's a vote of no confidence
on the power sector.
On the power sector.
Yeah.
I saw it very differently. It is a vote to a lot. First of all, it takes that. I'm sure they spend a lot of money on electricity. Takes them off the grid so that there's more power for the rest of us. And 2, it is a signal to Nigerians that the solution to our power problem is not just the grid. And everybody must begin to think of other alternative power sources. Everybody. So it's how you address it and how all of us begin to think in a more, bring critical thinking and problem solving skills to the problems that we have. It's not enough to just complain. What can you do individually, collectively to solve the problem? And in your own locality, how do you now? That is why we started the Lagos Island Connect, which is an NGO that is looking at how to connect at the local level. We've created the Nigerian network of NGOs. We've created the Lagos Civil Society Partnership, and a lot of states, the CSOs, are organizing themselves more effectively within their states. But within the local government, we all have to network more effectively, more collaboratively, and ensure that we solve the problem one after the other. And it is a collective responsibility. It's not something that we're going to it's just going to happen by praying. I see a lot of praying, people disturbing us at night, calling on God. God has given you brains. I beg, use it. Use the brains that God has given you. Conserve your energy instead of going to vigil at night. Get some sleep. You need your brain to rest so you can work well. Use it. I'm not saying you should not pray, but I'm saying that the nations that have developed, you don't see them utilizing that type of energy. God does not need too much noise. God is always with us, God is with each and every one of us
I have one more
24/7.
question. Yeah, sorry, because of time. I have one more question for you. But before I ask the last question, I want to ask you, do you think religion is a problem for us?
It is a problem.
Hmm.
It is not that religion is a problem. It's the way we practice religion.
The application of it.
The way we practice it in Nigeria. If you go elsewhere, people are very spiritual. You will see them behaving themselves. You don't have to ask them, are you Islam or Christian or Ifa is the one you are following, or is it Buddhism, or whatever. Yeah, they behave themselves because they have an understanding of the purpose of religion. The purpose of religion is to make you behave better, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
To recognize right from wrong. Basic, that's the basic. And to do others, and to, as you have them do unto you, that's love your neighbor as yourself, love your God with all your heart and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. When you see the people who are preaching religion here, the way they behave, you know that God is very far from them.
Oh God. I just had to laugh at that. So, young Nigeria, this one, my last question is something you're passionate about. I know you're doing a lot of youth empowerment. You're very passionate about youth. So, the way I wrote it down, young Nigerians are highly active during movements like NSAS, protest and what have you. So how can that energy be sustained and channeled, to long-term democratic reforms?
Well, it takes all of us again to identify which areas we need to engage, what structures we need to put in place, how we engage. Young people, that is again why I still do what I do, because they give me a lot of hope. I meet so many of them who are passionate about this country, who are educated, who are doing as much as they can. There was a young, and it's up to the individual. There's a company called Construction Kaiser in Lagos Island, and they hold camps every year to identify young students, citizens that they can support. And they had the kind of graduation ceremony for one young man that they had identified, who became the first class graduate in the QS program that he did. And you can see the passion of this young person and the way that company has carried him and others along to get them to where. So it's, like I said, it's up to all of us. You cannot leave it to government. This is an individual, private, small company just deciding that they would do it. So in the CSR that all our companies are doing, they must identify the support, the strengthening, the capacity building skills, not just the getting degree, but the soft skills, that understanding of leadership, that understanding of ethics and values. Because that's why I said that religion is no longer teaching ethics and values, it seems, in this country. They just collect money from their citizens, and the leaders are riding jets and wearing very, very nice suits. Because if they were teaching ethics and values in their churches and their mosques every Friday and Sunday, Nigeria will not be where it is now. But I see in the young people the understanding that they have to do it better, and they are trying to organize themselves, and we need to support them.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ms. Yemisi Ransome-Kuti. We call you Auntie Yemisi.
No problem.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for all you do. You've spoken well, and I think the core message from you today is that the office of the citizen has to be recalibrated. It's not just enough to blame leadership. The governor didn't do this. The government. How many forums do you go to challenge those in charge? You understand? How many times have you voted? If you have ever bribed anybody for anything, you are part of the problem. If you work in JAM and somebody got more than the cutoff, and you make sure that person's name did not appear or did not get an admission letter, you are part of the problem. If you're a doctor and you are shortchanging, using the same syringe over, you are worse than the person stealing the money. You understand? And if you're a man of God, you don't preach against embezzlement. You receive offering from every Tom, Dick, and Harry, irrespective of the source of money. You are a major part of the problem.
And we must remember that the public service is the civil servants at the engine room of development in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Politicians come and go, but who implements? So we have to get close to our public servant, civil servant friends. And help them to be part of this change that we want. That together, yes.
If you're a messenger in the federal civil service and you have 2 hotels in Gwagwalada, you're a very, very big part of the problem.
Yes. The biggest
part. That happens a lot, yeah. I mean, if you're low...
The biggest part. Look at what is coming out of the Malamis and the Emefieles and the, it is, unfortunately, what I find is that the corruption has sunk in so deep that we kind of think that,
it's an inherent problem. We can't.
Yes, that it's not so bad, but if we recognize that it is a big problem, and we all begin to Korawan Janu, as my people will say, begin to discipline ourselves and say, you don't need to have 10 houses on 2 cars, 10 cars and 3 houses or 5 houses. Your integrity. Let's get back to respecting ourselves. Let's restoring our dignity as human beings so that we can look our children in the eyes and say, look, I have taught you right from wrong. I'm following it. I want you to do the same. And then that way it will spread to all the nooks and crannies of the country. We have a responsibility to show the world that we are not a corrupt people. We are a people of dignity. We have high antecedents. Our ancestors governed this universe and did the right thing. And we can also do it. We can manage the government of our countries in a way that we can walk with pride, that our citizens can walk with pride anywhere that they are, and we can do it. We can restore that image of a proud African, proud nation, proud Black people all over the world. We've demonstrated it in many ways, and we just need to recalibrate, as you said, and decide that from now on, this is what it's going to be. We're not going to tolerate incompetence. We're not going to tolerate corruption. We're not going to tolerate dishonesty and shallow ethics and values. We will individually live those principles and demand it from our leaders.
Thank you. I have nothing more to add. It's a wrap there. See you guys on Friday. Bye.